ansa ne ebekọ honom no efiri na awotwe atwa mu na wie ye ne se wuhu ye a enkrata bi ne nam edi ahim ewo mayimu ya chese head mistress for emma wo be kira de teacher ni wo be kira de no watumi arise ya ne ebeka se wa be ye head mistress wa be ye headmaster na se wa pass it through watumi aye adwuma na duranimu ansa na sa position no wakita enti se ye wo maame se ye wunua se ye obusuani na wo hu letter se ne nam se ye interdate headmistress ye interdate headmaster ne charge ne senya ye se wagisika na wo hwe letters ahoro ye ba schools ahoro letters ye ba ya eniema ya list se we no magisika enu nti ne interdate won abusua enum na ye kwa enumre kakra ne atiasi ya sempa ho video eda Facebook ani YouTube because onim ye kan no asam na abani nyina ne for by free senior high school implementation free senior high school si asefam kwadesua yenye ho nhyehyeye yemfa mwa ma adehye ho nwewon yemfa miti SDG go saying go 4 nanka 2030 yenuru mu no nanka yese enkwada eko school wani ebo senior high school enka yenye school papa tie o yeka school anye school ni school si yeka se school no eye free a eye quality me na asem bia no oka wo se enye duduo wurewura ketewese enye ne duduo mu si ebenya no na emom se wunya ne ketwa na ne quality no eye a eno ne ade a ye hwehwe free senior high schools ye implement ye no from 2017 almost 6 years ni ewom we enti senne abanya wote so a wode baaye Ghana ni bie ni honomo a free senior high school policy o ka asende obi anka asenyo ni obi abeka no msi o eye nemom kiye ni se ya entu de yemfa ne se mfie dikan ni etosum yenu ni etosum yensa ya implement policy no say after 6 years ye kasa ye review ewo policy no mu a minyi ni so obi be kasa aban ye wo ye no ye bogus ye sesem ye ko ye nimu no ye hu se ha tosin tokuro da ha enti ye tuatua ntokuro no nanso ne ye hu ni sa aban ya yire ne kone achi emfa ho ene chese nhwehwemu awodo aba afrobarometer survey yi omode aba ewko University of Ghana Professor Adom nhwehwemu omode aba obia de even minister finance minister you know wa ban yimu obia de a wo kan say there be yensesem enki yesesem ba ku miensa because headmistress ni headmaster for ye ne ye bo wo sudwetire wo ye yi won ye interdate wo no wo de hwaniema no ayese wo omo tonton ene ka yese o magbo se check atade check ankwada no ehye ye ton ma won slippers ye ton ma won na ne mi hu wo mu a me yem hye me ye bed fee se aban no tumi ye na sede ye wo so ye school bia ni honomo ye wo se ye ka se parent na wo so provide bed and babeda so mattress na emum se ko ba se dade ampa akwada abeda so ye se ye gine bed fee sa aban no atumi aye na famu die a menyi ni se nka sa atokuro no beda ho ama headmaster bia na se headmistress bia nya kwanya ka se me kwadi hu ska fa bed fee bra se parent bi ko school mu ho no hu se pa empai ebi ni ho a me babeda so na emum headmaster no wono ahwe ye no pese oboa enti wo se mitumi di sikai ba ye di weba kona kwhwe a wofo ni bi contribution omoye enti se enna wo se ya after 6 years yensesemu kakra ebi awo a wonsem wo bie wo betumi abam kakra minyi ni se abanye obi be kase wonte ase eti free senior high school na ya ka review no minim se ye tabu ma abanyi wote ya na chese wate se asem bi anwona ba wo sesemu a wonya eboni o yenya ne ebema ye ho ade hwe na no soafo hwe o me ya disua mu nsem so se wo mo ko school no foforo SHS foforo no wo mo nko se na awatwem yenu o se na awatwem yensachi no onum asaba reason ni sen yo se calendar ne pese na calendar no ye hwe se nipa no ko no ne wo ko hia no ya dwene ho calendar no se besisi so keke ne ye hwehwe o ko ndie ne wo ko hia na se hwi ni tim calendar ne miti calendar no ya hyehye calendar no abusia Yes, ye education no ye ni ye ni ye ya mana ye and yes ye near the boy and who's for him keke. Enti mpanimfo e mo de monko say ye Africa watch you Africa education watch you say mo de monko University of Ghana mo fi ho no mo a Afro barometer service ahoro o ma ye 2019 2020 2022 monko gina mo hwe adwen wom ya ye fa bi e bebo ayen monko na monye ne mfa bi na mo ayen tiawa ne ewo mu an no medical de ato wanim se na ye Northton constituency eti ma hye badwani o ho no mo e wo fia Onimunyamfo Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa ewofia wokom na hyebadwam a committee ya bo onum hwe amnone nsem so no wo company for ye owo mu minim sa education committee no abo ho no mo wokohye mu bia na se ho de nka former deputy minister de minim tie do kan ho ana so mo se adwuma na do so ama adodo
there be me foreign affairs as one of my two committees me survey on Obekaya na me appointments committee and I may resign here and to say me house committee because according to the constitution of Ghana every member of parliament must serve on two committees at least
when
one select committee and a one standing committee.
It's nice and now 3 na de ba ko to ho na na say o resign your masa ma obi o
so maybe I mean yes I will be in breach of the constitution.
Okay
until me free appointments committee and omoma me house committee
if some modern one na wo bo appointment committee no minim asem no se ne osima ne share wo ho so a ka say ma resign questions a wo be yi ato ho no mo eti sa origination ne de ja wana be wana unim because me te ye da me te em say ade ase warashe
oh man rashe penifo enim say man rashe with those within the party
because me hu ne say Kenya constitution na ya ka say e wo say wanya committees kra no nya tu a kam ni say ba ko no besan de aka ho komu fi no kwasem enka kari ya komu fi yeda sepa yeda se abusian ene constituency ye beko honom ye fi honom so a emrahye badwam adwuma a omo ye wo mrahye badwam ni nyina bi ye behwe na emom ni tichiu African fa video no etum emame se eniema sisei nanka yetumi ate ntem so sane ye hu ya enti na me ka se ye yi mrahye badwani wo constituency ye yi leaders ewo area na wotena ho no modwojo bodwisem ka se me de emfa me ho ne beba bia daache no asem bi te sane ye course ewo Northton constituency no esi wo constituency a omrahye badwani ubeje wo ye obeka cho sa me de enye me na sika no wo me ho sika na assembly this assembly common fund then e call more but there are other ways yes nipa no nim ye friend say lobbying obetumi a lobby ama ne sasa monsaka because constituencies ahoro e wo framantem ya wo ho e kire won wa bra e ba say yesi VRA fo akoso mosutade no wabie no enye one constituency enye voter region ko Wokobno East region e bi wo ho Eastern region yenya bi wo ho Greater Accra region yenya bi wo ho kona ko nipa ni bi wo ho no ma beto sabre baby a wote baby a ye ka sa omonko nadmofo de wokotena no ebi da so tete wo ebi so tete abusuafo nche ba wo de bra Facebook anwumrei Facebook YouTube wo de ne hiansa obebo Adom 106.3 FM empa nipa no a yede wo kogu baby nadmofo bo awa no baby a wobeda yatumi asidan eni bosomi miensa won eni bosomi miensa eni bosomi nnan me kra me ka se bosomi won
yes 7 weeks na dey
7 weeks edan no masi omudi nipa ekomu no nipa hasa 300 yede wo kwotena dan mu wo de emfa ne se enye to standard ai bia obi me ka se wotini fie hyepe mu wo mafa na se baby enye to standard na wo hwe ba wanya roof akata wuti so ensuo to wawiabo edan ni nesi ho no na no eye hwan moa eti abusuan nwumrei wo de oba Facebook oba YouTube a edan no na wo ho no minim se ye de brace nesi yo se we na ye block so because me hu ade ne se ase clay bricks ni bi we na kase mu ye betumi aye bibi se yama nipa nya baabi atena kwa apiate explosion na call so wo honom no beto ne omanfo e wa apiate ebi da so tetenti mu why na wo honom wo betumi afight ya manipa no eti abusua nwumre yi me pese wo hwade me pese wo huni enti e wo sa wo to aba no not based on 200 cities nya 100 cities 200 cities 300 cities na wo kana obi age 400 wo gidi ete se ne wonkokọ abutu nkosia so na wakoyi akokọ na wayi kosia na wakodi ebe wi ase no nipa a wo beyi no afa wo na nimu anu odidi watem wagini sika di waton wadwen wo conscience waton wadwen no ama no eti abusua anwumre yi wo de bomoden mo afidie ne na ha ya Facebook so me pesa wo hwade politank esi ho edan ye nipa no kura bi akọ dada ye behwe other constituencies no so ne ekoso e wo hono na yemfa Sedama Franco Trading Enterprise me catch you say afi ne Franco aye no edoso afi wanfa ne mamra kura no CCTV cameras and a washing machine Papa Franco latest edition yo de be kan ho this year no na wo niema so wa watobie bia wunim say ye one branches in the whole Ghana Franco Trading Enterprise bi wo ho DBS adawroma chense papa fa bi bodan so say yes bronya ye chawade bronya ya ye wo mo sa wo ye customer atade wo baabi na omo ye omadwen say ya yire ye ho a ye ncha wo hwe na say omo tiri mu eden DBS say nchense no a wo beto no carpenter ni sika nke betua ama no wa bra wo boso no wo mo magesa aka no bronya achede ye de ema wo no na Game Park Limited adawroma abusia wode ya ne se mobile phone bi ekita wo no Game Park no utimi di sa agro ni bi ne ehia se 0 to 9 wode peke 4 numbers wo peke a nyame ya Adom TV ne anopa 10 na wia 12 ye to na numbers na wo peke ye no edamu a wo na anie chese wadi agro anya sika enya agro a eyempipra agro nya agro a eyempipra agro misre wada wo so a wo pedan ato no ma me fa wentwam ka bani ni shoes de onim say ye ni abere na nke ye bon tewtew na emom obi so pe ba bi ada eti misrew ye ton dan bi dan adankura na hye mu 3 bedroom self contained ena ye ton kpon katamanso ena wo ye ton dan no enti misrew wo a wo ye interested 3 bedroom self contained e wo kpon katamanso why wadwen so person tena kpon area ho no sa area ho e hojo Mr. Jinambe 0244 030885 and I say 054 07 87 507 ofra ye beje so 10 so meba beto so midin e de akua boachewe Adom frame ABY meje so mi producer Sota Mechi listo wo kwadwofo dwone lawyer listo wo no ta Mechi kwamkule enu tachi Aisha Akua Ibrahim Frank Milovan ena Jamrechum akowua ni odematum live o Facebook and YouTube your friend Edward Robert Tete also etamachi honorable mesamo akwa babiu
yo everywhere medase
afi na chese ya kaje gum dendende se mo be sori se di asetan na ya mo hyase Monday enti na mo koye
ya ko ende ya be kosa up to Saturday kra
Saturday so mbeko
Saturday so ya be ko if say aka just less than 2 weeks yes I say you rise it 22nd into once a budget no you to me approve in term 1 week delay by because of the walkout your colleagues on the majority side almost stage and seeing say omuni numbers no until they worked out so because of that I delayed the consideration of the estimate no and the appropriation bill until a delay by 1 week until because of that as I say this Saturday can home na original ya join say bet to me rise 21st but yeah day another day I can home 22nd
yeah no cry na possible say we to meet with moduma egu puno so no
yeah sure we may have to even extend because we should estimate now as I say you consider 44 estimates ministries departments and agencies
no
and it's a lot of work ochina foreign affairs you better consider ministry estimates other committees are almost started say approve budget no on Thursday into ABS started Friday and this a number of committees at Tenase into young foreign affairs better say ochina and there's no guarantee say you better me the same day. It's overlapping to Wednesday and not Thursday. It means a report may be ready maybe a Friday and a Monday next week. And then you have other 43 other cost centers, as I say, you consider, including Electoral Commission, because by a very important year, you by a national election, presidential election, parliamentary election, as I say, you're 2 year book, analyze the budget, making sure say the allocations are in the right order, and there is every exigency has been considered. It is going to be a very tough period, and be so your crisis or your constituency, and to make there are times in the week to make constituency 4 times in the week. And upper way me free constituency in the buy, as I said, me sanko Thursday and Friday, even though me koye jumana na my return to Parliament. It's a very tight schedule. Very tight schedule.
Because now no me say next speaker can say wa be late say one way be say first na na go school no ye late gina abonten. E be mo na say late comers no so ya doso can na ye absenteeism na omumma and e bi ko na omumma ke omudin ya na omko be say the ni aba ne say nipa ne beba late sa na no koso omho. The speaker is right in saying say wo be late no be gina abonten.
Speaker is right. Menena ya jen because ejumane de wo be ya na wa ya because Parliament a year kono, as I say, ya kai say a mra and a guide bibia our Parliament share the Constitution under Article 102 of the Constitution. I say a quorum of Parliament, apart from the person presiding, shall be 1/3 of all members of Parliament. And the chair say under Article 102 of the Constitution, answer na Parliament will be properly constituted. Answer na yabobo mpaya kura, answer na yabe tenasino. At least 1/3 of all members must be present. And if you notice, and there have been many sittings yesterday, we don't have this 1/3. Because 1/3 of 275, we all know, say you should be within the region of 90 to 100. But sometimes it's just about maybe 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. And it's not the best. Even the image of the institution. Meaning, say, a be our genuine excuse, say, more committee meetings. Because even the Interior Minister was talking about that, say, the committee, around 9:30, the Defense and Interior Committee. But he had to come into the chamber because there was a delay. But the point too has to be made, say, speaker upon speaker. It's not only Speaker Bagbin. From Meko Parliament, from Bamfordado to Speaker Doa Jaho, Omonyana Akase, who committee meeting cry, as I say, uba chamber answer. And committee meeting should not be organized before proceedings begin. It looks like clerks of the committee and the leadership of committees, they have questions to answer. We are not because really aligning.
Matida say speakers no, I can say there be young pon answer.
Exactly.
Ananke bia moba na mujua mubetumi akọ. Nti nkanya no pa no. Ba say toda so na ye hwe time amode kọ no a anopa na mu 10. Na moko. It is speaker okase say yen to me emfa 10 a.m. no enye juma. Ye bet to me adopt the course or other countries. They say House of Commons say omotena say we are just on few occasions. Most sittings are in the afternoon, so that upeso ye committee meetings and now more permission from the speaker to, because under the Constitution you can seek permission. Maybe we a lawyer, now we a businessman, and we engineer. You still run your firm. You can have a certificate to still carry out your private business. And if you have that permission now, the advantage with an afternoon sitting is you can then go and do that in the morning and send out waba. And young Kaisu said under Article 104 of the Constitution about decision making.
and this was emphasized in the Abdullahi case recently. Article 104 provides, except as otherwise provided in this constitution, matters in parliament shall be determined by the votes of the majority of members present and voting, with at least half of all members of parliament present. Into the majority of members present vote into a bad decision. If we take a decision, whether a voice vote, a head count, division, whatever the process, once it's a decision of the House, no, as I say, half of 275 must be present and voting. And the Supreme Court has ruled said that is 138. You know, these are very important provisions of the Constitution. It boils down to attendance, because Mwamba parliamenter, sometimes when people go to court, we are exposed. To say in the Abdullahi case, it's this attendance issue is so germane. It's not just about vote crying to me, because you see half must be present. And Sana Speaker Krabe put the question, say we are now going to vote. Eyes, nose, answer no be put the question. Half of MPs must be present. The Speaker's effort to clamp down on absenteeism and lack of punctuality, is in the right order, because Constitution is at stake. And yes, sir, some of these major bills are here passing, laws are here passing. Obibe to me, court say, look, now me follow proceedings, me share what TV so na Adom online, and me who said me kai or Crawford more parliament, or more do 20, or more do 30. So how could they have taken this decision? It is unconstitutional, and it will be thrown overboard. Abdullahi tried it and succeeded. I don't think so. Some people have been hard on the Speaker, say, oh, yet is your headmaster, he's handling us as school children. But I don't see it that way, because if you look at your duties under the Constitution, numbers way here, it's not just an issue of say, oh, just show up for the cameras. There be your constitutional requirements that we must meet. We must meet even before we can say we are properly constituted. There is a number, a threshold we must meet. Answer na yebe take decisions. There is a threshold. Half of MPs must be present. Answer na even the question is put. All of this provided in the Constitution and our standing orders. And the Speaker is not, out of order, and I say being hard on MPs. And I think, as I say, you're reflective on your attendance. Yeah, there are times genuinely you can't be there, and the standing orders have provided, you must seek permission, maybe a health grounds, and may say first 2 weeks because of the disaster. No, I had to continue to be in the constituency, because for 2 months, I had to be on the ground consistently until major permission from the Speaker. Yes, in those instances, but just say would you won't permission by any time be open. It's not the best, especially looking at the Constitution of the Republic and then the image of the institution. I don't begrudge the Speaker at all.
One say ama mumu bi ho eye nipa ni bi nwanwa. Na anu minim say opani wache wade at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo.
Yes.
O lecture asem kan say Ghana for ma ye trust mo parliament ya e wo ho no a enye yie. And then na me per reason no why nti obeka say because yes mumu ache ye hang parliament niema Ghana phobia ni je ni say oh say de obi ntumi nka say obi ayusu ne numbers I have any way nye voice ne numbers asem nti niema bekoyi ba utie ne profo kan say da bi say wo hwe niema na nka ye hwe say minority fo betumi ayusu o mo numbers mpo ya ye nka ye nyintumu a o ma disappoint ye kwan bebre so. Enti sa lithium asemi no can say lithium you say aka say ye de beba parliament ma Ghana for nka so e could do parliament a minority for be because e trust mu enye yi mu use mu numbers no ma ye nya profit bia say ye mumu ache ti ye say de aban ntumi have any way wa hwe mo performance a e betumi aka say mumu che ye na bo ayen
yo meso makai dear Professor Jampo or the Toja, and I'm take these sentiments generally across the length and breadth of the country. The American say, omo kasasa ena, Ghana for Dudwana, I don't think they are being fair to the minority. Because what can I say, che, it is just within MPP NDC. But Ushe fact now, I don't want to use unfortunately, but the fact and the reality, and they say the independent member of parliament who really could have held sway, and it's a matter, me person may test it around the Supreme Court say, is it allowed, say, Waba Parliament as an independent candidate? Would you want to and assess and vote on issues on a case-by-case basis? Would you also say, you don't even know what is coming? One anticipating in say, all of what will come, all business in Parliament, would you over to about on the side of the MPP, only MPP for Bejima? Then what is the advantage of an independent candidate? What shows say we are independent candidate? Then let's just say, look, you have crossed carpet, you have defected, we are MPP. And a lot of people forget, say, they just look at the fact, say, oh, MPP 137, NDC 137. But Omurefi said, there's an independent candidate. In Tiana, Speaker Ruli said, there is a majority and a minority, a majority group. Because independent candidate, no, what Krata Command Speaker said, ono dear, only MPP be yejuma. Until just last Thursday, a few days ago, you two about on the budget. MPP mobilizing omu numbers ninyana, including the independent candidate. Omunya 138. In this circumstance, we are only 137. Until people forget, if it was the other way around, Anka NDC and I were 138 and MPP were 137, then these accusations, these attacks will be justified. But to the extent, say, you were 137, independent candidate Nanka Obetumia Boying. Look, if I was in his shoes, I would have decided, say, I'll be truly independent and then may vote on a case-by-case basis. I think the Honorable Amakwesi and I have enormous respect for him. He's a good friend. I respect him as second deputy speaker. But I don't think so Wabua is a democracy. He lost a golden opportunity to really be a kingmaker. And he will have addressed all of these concerns. Because Ghana for Dodona, I give it up on the executive. Be executive. No matter the criticism from civil society, from corporate Ghana, from the clergy, the Islamic organizations, experts, academics, everybody is looking to Parliament as an institution that must carry out checks and balances. Say, Parliament, that should be the last bastion. Parliament, Bema, your salvation. Fortunately, Yakotu Abano. Some way, somehow, Asema in Sida, unprecedented. Yachimupe, MPP, NDC 137, 137. Independent candidate, Unanka, Otuobo. Based on the issues, the Ebebano, now what decided in the national interest as a patriot. But unfortunately, you see the extreme partisanship. Indiana earlier, you discussing with me resignation. It's like in CEDA. Many people are surprised. People don't even. And I heard some analysts say, "Oh, that would be the end of my political career. I'm finished." Yeah, in Ghana, we don't do resignations and all of that. But these cultures must change. I would have really wished say he maintained truly his independence, and then Obe decided. Into to the extent, say, "Yenu no more." The other side of the aisle as MPP group, they are 138. Anytime Omotumia mobilize your numbers, the boy Kakra in the previous months, and he said the Honorable Adjoa Safo was not availing herself. And the standing order says when we vote, and there's a tie, the matter is lost. And I mean, even in that case, if you notice, Ubekaya, because Omuhu said, Adjoa Safo Parliament, they made sure, say, they then also injuncted one of our colleagues, the Honorable Jachi Kwesi. Until they whittle down our numbers further. Until you drop it from 137 to 136. So that they will still have an upper hand. Until there's been a lot of shenanigans, Akoso. And the fact of the matter is, if Ghanaians will be fair to us, no, Ghanaians didn't give us a majority. And any time they will vote as MPP group, independent candidate, no, or no, they are Wachirokrata, they are Kwakoma speakers, or no, they, no matter the issue, no matter what is at stake, MPP for direction, no. Or
independent candidate na Ghana for nyama.
Yes, because what can we do? You two about one who say you voted on the budget. You say budget way and so many taxes and a lot of the provisions there are not in the national interest. We made that point very clear. We got public support. Now so eba voting no. Omo mobilizing all the 138. Omo to omo. We say the day they didn't have the numbers, no, they walked out. Until they then use about a week to mobilize. Omo Namin himself, for example, Honorable Kennedy Japan was in the States. He has sought permission from the Speaker. Honorable Mavis Nkansa Bwedu, Deputy Foreign Minister, na Oni Ghana. Honorable John Kuma was not in Ghana, the Deputy Finance Minister. Omo to omobo, mobilize omunyana. Until Ghanaians should always remember, say, MPP group no omo ye 138 inti ye bibia enye ye. Once they are 138 inti, please, if you want the NDC to save you, give us the majority. Give us a majority. Fortunately, next year we have an opportunity to vote again. More electing more NDC MPs. Mumma the NDC the opportunity to come and govern. Muntu Obama, President John Dramani Mahama. Then all of this, because Ababe said, oh, Omu initiative policies, no. Nobody is criticizing them. 11, Mikai said, I was surprised how we were bashed. Oh, we put all our hopes on the NDC. Oh, NDC, one more. Oh, NDC, you can't trust them. Manti say Obia criticizing Omo the obnoxious tax never no. They were left. The president, the finance minister.
Ghana 4 years na bonchia na anyeyi. And omo di omo ni tomu so say be do parliament. Mumu betumi aye bi won because so ka say Ghana for anka de me ne wonya.
No, Debbie, me can say omo anka me the kind of attacker or more launchy at us. No, I was surprised. It wasn't launched at the president or more because a cabinet and omu initiated these unpopular policies. Ghana for say munjayo omunti obia, but omumo no yaja omo and now NDC for obi achura NDC MPs cannot be trusted. NDC MPs munya. But what can we do? 137. They are 138. Unfortunately, independent candidates say, or no, dear, they be and I think, sir, as I say, your Supreme Court, now you tested this, say, independent candidate, also you're independent candidate, and that's how you were voted. Can you then come to Parliament and then decide, say, permanently, you always go in the direction? Then independence actually thing. I mean, what does that mean?
Into why already say over tested.
Oh, it's one of you. My name in lawyers are discussing.
Because Samia ya bank chroma time no. Ono no tin mfimfini po na chi ono.
And she was truly independent.
Yeah. Ewo de bia ni the decision will take.
Yeah.
So we are hoping say nka ibenya bi mu etisa. Ba we no posuom.
Yeah.
Mo semunim say posuom. Ebusia eni awutie mra hyebadwani mo man for your war Northton former deputy minister ya no war education o confirmation ministry so oye adwuma e wo hono na ne ode e wo mra hyebadwam na afeni e ba ya sempa no so we de mra hyebadwam ene ye de aprapra kwan mu no wo se esatisi we akiri by say de me enko constituency na say Ghana for ye beka ya African wing onfa matumu mame enche bia afi brichie kase ye ball mayimu ebi kura de na ne omo kan so yen kama wiase nyina nte se Ghana yakwa huhiehie mu adin mu ne enya support emfira me no ni nyina ena yete ye ye say budget ne ba ya allocate sika bia ye de beboa nipa ye wo honom before the budget kra no ebeba no na Greek minister so de atum ye beboa akuafo ye omo wo ba bi omo ho akere won eti na che se ye ne ankasa ye ho nkakra ba niamba nwumre yesi adwane se wo ba Facebook YouTube adan bi a yesisie e wo honom once asem ni see ye no nipa no ye sheda de wo kogu baabi faako classrooms Saint Kizito sa din na atwerenche mu na mete yem te ye wo he Saint Kizito agidin papa o he ne ye course wo ho no mo a se ne no manfo no tetete ho no mo enti sa dan ye sisi ho na anwumre ye pese ye hu se aftermath no atase atwerenche ni see ye no ede na asie honorable o constituency ye ka constituency na ye affected pa o constituency no ye one eti na ye bisa se nipa na ye bi akoso mosutade wo ho kire won no sen na akosi a ene yemam chesen
yo medase sana odia tujano September 15th and VR4 almost spele excess water in Siwa na ewo akosombo dam and pond dam. And from the 20th, 21st, 22nd of September, and I started feeling the brunt. Also, Northton, ye bang akosombo dam. We are the first constituency. And who's Pelisana, yena. I mean, a buyer first, and sana ebe ko bibia. And according to the NADMO statistics, no. Yena ye the worst affected. Into Yena ye the epicenter. They describe Northton as the epicenter of the disaster. Into OSHA statistics now, even though 39,000 people across the country are displaced now.
It could do 39.
It could do 39,000.
Okay.
Yes. Latest NADMO data meho. Now so yen Northton yen kwa 12,633.
Out of 39,000.
Out of 39,000. Into Juma were a hopper. 12,633 people have been displaced. Same NADMO, because they are the credible organization about disaster. You work with their disaster statistics. Almost signed their tujo say a daya ebubu a insiono ebubu asaya damage no about 1,500. Enti meneo kasa se say sa 12,633 no. Because they had nowhere to go. Omo dan asay, omo bibia asay insiona afa bibia no. They had to be immediately relocated onto higher ground. VR ni NADMO for omo fred those locations, no safe havens. I call them displaced camps because there's nothing safe about them. It's not a haven. Into Uba Northton, there were 21 of these displaced camps. And yes, Nukrese Senkizito Ababe, very, very famous. That is just one of 21 displaced camps. And Mafes Senkizito is the biggest displaced camp. And now, what's the biggest displaced camp? Fortunately, this weekend, no, yeah, to me, I relocate you be an Omonyana no more Mafes Senkizito. But the second displaced camp, the Agbetikbo camp, yeah, 1,255 displaced persons there. And all of these displaced persons, no, omo basic schools and one secondary school, Mafes Senkizito. Yenina yenim said these schools, no, they were not built to house people residentially. And these schools, no, washrooms in neho, bedrooms in neho, toilet facilities in neho. And the people are living like refugees. Congestion, me invited Ghana Medical Association. We went into a partnership into almost send the doctors over, and then I had to take care of the accommodation, the feeding. Ushe reports on Mudi Tojano. Omuka say congestion causes skin infections and respiratory diseases. And then there's typhoid, there's cholera. There's a public health aspect.
Yeah, baby, I'm
because now conditions no nye. A year later, Krana organizations they say Red Cross a boy edit tents by UNICEF for so the tents into to me a reducing numbers no cry in the classrooms, but still no there was congestion, insanitary conditions. Later, Krana portable toilets. You can just imagine a lot of people crowded and people were answering nature's call in the wild and all of that. And we have a humanitarian crisis on our hands. Kaise disaster no at the peak of the disaster, there was no electricity because now substations are submerged, and ECG4 issued statements said no, most said there will be mass electrocution. Recently, no restore electricity. Until there was no electricity, there was no water. Ghana water for our community water, almost substations were also submerged. Until there was no potable water, we had to be providing water, from outside. And this was a terrible disaster. A number of roads were cut off completely, affected, submerged, and in Sion also, Ebeye very contaminated because in Sion, cemeteries, mortuaries, all kinds of public toilets, sewage. It was very, very horrible. Now, faced with this disaster, there was the need for an emergency response. We immediately launched an appeal. Miankasa, Mekaise, a few days after the disaster, I launched the MP's caravan. And I was the first person to provide relief items. Over 400 bags of rice, maize, canned fish, and all of that. And I demonstrated to journalists, we have the capacity. May deploy pickups, say within 24 hours, we can make sure we serve all the 21 camps. Also, Northton is very vast. Many people don't know that Northton is Suchantama in terms of land size. It's very, very vast. Across the river, Joapomunyana, Eka Northton, Fujoku, Togome, Ninyana, Eka Northton. And then on this side, there's a Veime, Bato, Mapa. Volta River, it divides the constituency into two. Into the east side, the west side. Very, very, may talk me constituency. To me, even in the whole week, to me talk constituency in India.
Population,
your island communities is over 100,000. According to the latest population housing census. And we may not be that densely populated, but in terms of land size, huge. And we had to do this, emergency interventions, providing food items, making sure, we launch an appeal. And as I said, they told you, Ghana for Abuayampa, and Kanya Ghana for meaning baby, Crawford, but what's he say? Many people will have starved to death. Menkwa, just the MP's office, companies, and individuals, churches, Islamic organizations who have come through, just my office, the MP's office, about 195 so far. 195. Debia may update me in the spirit of transparency and accountability. And talking about transparency and accountability, so my setting up what I call the Accountability Elders Council, chaired by Professor Emmanuel Neche Afedo, very respected senior citizen from Northton. And on that council, you were nananom woho or more supervising, making sure Bibia Koso transparently. Until there's no politician serving there. Until donations no by omo taking records and omo advising on the distribution. Until we had to set up these structures to build confidence and to also allay the fears of Ubia Obejin probably some people want to take advantage of the disaster. Into the Accountability Elders Council, chaired by Professor Afedo, Omo a fantastic job. And at the end of this crisis, Omo be publish a report. And I be invited a private auditing firm to audit into Sikani Nyana buy, for example, Chief Imam or my 70,000. And then we have to let the Ghanaian people know. Recently, Pastor Isud Anaba, and the Isud Anaba Ministries, almost 50,000. It's all of those donations, this cement about Rosa Foundation, and all those firms, over 190 companies, associations, and individuals. There will be a full audit, and we'll put out a full report by the Professor Afedo. If there's any question that the MP or anybody, the DC has to answer, I'm sure, we will know at the end of that report. But having said that, in terms of eduania and crofubedi, mattresses are medaso, tents are demo, and all of that. But what was outstanding, what is really, really urgent, is housing. Because classrooms are demo, it's not the best. Omo yare. I mean, make I say, Bishop Ajinasari yere or omo ba be donation e work betipo camp. Omo drew ya ena senior citizen be or work camp no collapse here. A 75-year-old woman, and fortunately, Reverend Ajinasari, the firstborn, a medical doctor, into onokra no boy with immediate, the immediate medical attention, first aid, and all of that. And Sana Yerashe Mameno to the Bato Catholic Hospital. And see, these things are real. There's a 27-year-old lady. She had underlying conditions, but we know what she was at the Mefe Presby Park. Miko a year no cry last week. And the conditions, it's like, people are living like refugees in their own country, their own hometown. And many, the first Kai group for Ekasaya, Madame for our your CEO, Mr. Eric Kotoche, say, the air cosono, as I say, you to me, start a housing project. Now, at least you to me, easy. Tensions, and congestion, and most importantly, we can help to restore their dignity, because the way recent Child Rights International for Ombe year assessment and report on Moody Tojo Omuka say even different sex adolescents, but we had no choice because schools no cry. We had to locate these people. Many people fail to recognize Christ. We lost 53 schools. 53 schools, according to NADMO, were damaged totally. And we didn't even have a lot of the schools to host the people. These were the lucky ones that were left. And we had to make sure housing was immediately taken care of. Fortunately, Omo Epineye, and we form a partnership. Omo ka say nananumbe to me say free of charge. Na Semeso may take it up the furnishing. They will come and then do the construction of the house.
Sky Group phone.
Yes, into Omoya their price say your bomb basso. And the first Sky Group Omo BC a dino and nanano mema sase free and mena may furnishing, that is the beds into bank beds now in the buildings.
African Fatum Mame.
And funds, fixed funds, they started on Saturday when they were moving in. Mena Mefa Hoka, and then the immediate environs, the courtyard, preparing it and all of that. Yes. Assassino or Aveime. Yes.
Okay, because yes,
Omodia Chayan, yes, Omodia Assassina Chayan. Oh, it's more than 10 acres, but more usually just about 2 acres. Yes, that's what Assassia. If Cassia down other companies, per se, Omobeboa, Yawasassia Mom, and we'll be glad to really support them.
And as a dine way, no say Muyusu, how many weeks?
7 weeks. Mekati sort 19th October. T4 to me, I call me timeline, me social media, me publish here that day, 19th October, Mekati sort no. It is just who calculate here, just 7 weeks.
7 weeks, and you see a dime, saying 300 and I saying
it's a year 63. It's 3 units. There were 21 rooms in each. Into 21 times 3, 63. Into a family of 5. Into arithmetic now, it serves 300, roughly 300 people. And you prioritize your mamino and our mom one color into mothers and children, those with little children. Into 90% allocation now, we told others, the youth member no so Munchenka cry, where you're the first one, and then you started second one. The second one you see what my into your start and also your per se you break it young cause your record 7 weeks no say your per se you know in 4 weeks we are just trying, we are working hard
because me share video no African they are tune live on Facebook and YouTube your chief for 8 year share your number wo burning issues no adan no ye mpese ono abo betena ha no aka say ene ye sidan ni ehu ye nti say wo hwe edan no a eno na wo ho no wo hwe compound ho no mo a aye emergency 10 so nti ye entire compound no ba hu adan ne say adan no na sisi ho no na nipa a Africa no mu asi no eye nkwala na emerewafo nkakra eti wei no mode nkwala ne ye maame mu mpanimfo no na edi kan akọ no mo.
Yes, 90% because omo no mo ye vulnerable enti omo na esese ye boa omo
na ye report enya na ada no ye news awia obi esu a wode ba ye ne say na ye nya kwan ne ye kunu no mo na ye nya kwan ne ye mire mo na no mo asa akwoche mu ayi bi di omo ko
say there say o kron wo around obetumi aba ho enti
enti say ukunu timi ko
yeah ukunu timi ko say you solve that problem say just family rooms into you have your privacy. The only challenge is they say muncho in Kolan dancer
because we don't do good me jidi say we
better than classrooms no
yes ne ntuma she yo se kakre ya besome me jidi say we be ye enough am for the meantime eti light ensuo ni nyina bi wo ho that
yes oh yes ni nyina showers wo ho
nyina
oh yes kania wo ho ensuo wo ho enti me na me tia utilities no makacha omo nyina say because omejuma say omo ni baby a call and all of that
enti say me bi wo ho no mo a wo kan ya na abomi pusa kakra me na me because bia nkasa ya library kura etwetwe na ye fie no enafam eti say wo ka say omo a nipa 300 no omo library wo betua ensuo sam wo betua sika no di free common fund that say den
say common fund kan and donations na you receive one say you setting up the accountability elders council enti you be account donations na ebano and then make common fund enti MP's office and the point ne say omo you allocate your dynamo omo they will not pay because honestly no, to be a burden I mean pesa ajonjen be ku omo because omo ni ejuma ye omo ejuma say most of them are farmers, fish ponds their shops are gone into who expect to say on better utilities you are just deceiving yourself.
Unya dine bi mu kokotena ne aka ne say waduane a wobedi.
Exactly.
Na no say
and aduane kra no say you provide it. On say donations na abano your system every week be your call round into your warehouse your store excess no into at least your aduane a bel last year or more from now to first week in January. And Ghana for that's why more your donations and Drakrana me work constituency you receive 3 organizations on be your donations eduane so no you provide at least for now eduane no sign
enti edan we no for how long na mode e mo matnem permanent unipa cross we betimi no yire no matna ho dia permanent accommodation you can stay there now unya baabi na peso kwa wakwa na say mo mu hu ne se da bi e de he ma mo da chi bi e beje sign it
into we know as long as Uber to me at now say we are expecting say government ever providing resettlement houses. That's what we are expecting. Into say buying ABC that resettlement says na omo ye wo apiatina then the people can decide to relocate because it's their right. They deserve to be resettled. It is a buying a resettlement now. Then they can decide to as and when say take it 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or they can be there until that point.
Sanye African fa ba kunutum sanye we no edem no ene ma wu dan no. I say ya ye no compound house. Kese tete compound house. Kumasifie kese na say
and a polytank no
and a polytank no sisi emfimfini and ma hu say akire ho so no ensase no machichim we omu sinite say estate adan no because a kwan na dedam ya yi kwan kama yesi 1 2 3 and ba ko no wa akire na wo ka say mo pese mudibiti mo record cry ma set no eno so na wa akire a mo ye no eti we aban de eninim
Debe yeah chain aban and start a house
nipa no doso say 12,000 na where you 300 are still bebre aka eti omo maka ne de omo be remain wo baby omo wona till say government de ne beba
yes and yes so you go so I say you start second one and then and so be take another 300 and you go so based on support ayenya and for example, more this cement, but yanya call based on this, no. Company be from Davido roofing sheets. They were so impressed into almost say second one no on with the roofing sheets. And calls like that, my encouragement say you bet to me.
The video we call be our office coachre no. Me meti ha wo dia betchire mi no. Se wo ka se nipa no ntua taku ntua sempo a onim say resource amenya ni dachen se ye ka se yakosi sa dan wo ewo avaima na se wo mapa misika wo mbi. Wahu. I say penti kwa so ye say me ntutu sududu ka ho bi. Wahu. Eti ebi nie. Ebi
boa ye nya calls pa say almost support be. I'm hoping say by end of year no you be raise second one no na at least na year konka kra
other constituencies ni nyina we ikoso ho no mana.
Oh, sir, me MP for one constituency for Northton, into
Northton, Juana. And I just say we now stretch your hands no because first sky group for so on Bebua we know. Minim sada areas no so no omo said do ho no mu bia. Enu nti na ye shade medina se na make bibi say we no make tu ye ne aye to aba no. Se o to aba no a. No wa hunkwanya abefa so ato no. Because obi betumi aka ache wo say ye de obi tu adwuma no aka ache wo say metumi the IGF arane hospital metumi the IGF atria government workers a omudin eni payroll soka na that same adwuma wo de obi aba beda no nso aka ache wo say aban sika ma ye adwuma ne begu wo difference wo mu no difference won nipa say ye kasa obi a leader obetumi aye adwuma na difference ni bi ne ye hwe ne ha sei no eti Northton for me we ye MP da bia me ka say we ye MP ba bia wo ehin na wo ye adwuma no na ye ne yi a ye beka because me me wan ene kule frame yo yes so ye si dan ni bia wie be 300 nipa na omoko na me say omo ye dan na omu si ye because apia te de na me de toto ho say apia te de no company mass explosion no course no ya fine omo ya jessica ateno no ya set up a committee ya fund say ya amount for donations amount for the call ye no ye mfa nko enso beto ne ho no say MP wo ho ho no say DC wo ho ku na ye te ye ni nyina wo ho no mo eti say within 7 weeks ni atumi asisa dan ye da Facebook ani YouTube say o manfo nkomu a abusuan ne ye eya ye beka ne anye so no na say ye de no so ato wonom mattress no so na provide ya na because man say ebi kitekita mattresses bia
say mattresses no de na omo that donations na buy you know me provide bank beds no metal beds no me cut off from ash foam for or more designing very very beautifully and say on say Saturday anopano ye hu say courtyard no say a farm hono more treaty into insuto I bet me aye quite messy into ye order chippings into latest photos of obe hono and also my reporters kohwa we say ya solve that problem into the chippings are too from say
because at time we try pictures ni video dey na future no na the same future no kra no so no
the address use chippings wo honyana into aye kama
question na mi bisa na kwa mi kumade abaye o say bi why me pese me bisa honorable say sika no onya free he ana wo de he na wo ken masters London na obi ye ne master so eno so hu sika na baby sem ka say wo baby sa baby asika onya free e ondo o se ne hian o ye masters or London
David
ni baby a Samuel Awito o say ebi why ma me mo minua be mo ye minua be ma ka che ne say me bona baso papa e na master planner Virginia Kentampo say ebi why wonim say me ye MPP ni nenso nipa ba kwa me adman no wo politics aye wo Ghana ye democracy nipa mu ye mane ye fe eye honorable Okujeto Ablakwa ka chen say bona baso constituencies bebre here MPs a eti say but still catch and say Dr. Muhammad Bawumia ne bebre create no ena Eric Opaymen so see bi why when ye kasa ye leaders ne ye wikida eya amumu bi mo nche ase Sagleme project no ena da honom no adan egu honom say adan 300 nipa yesi nipa 300 kwa adan 60 something mu na say anwumre wani age wo ka ho asem a Sagleme project no bisa ho se nka nipa sen ne betumi afa wo mo se nka leaders no ka say emergency intem so nipa ho akere won yemfa wo nkomu a etinke ntumi solve problem no ana bright boy so de yode aba o say ebi kache honorable sem bona ba so say odwen nipa a wo mato aba na ma no ho na emu mi so me MP ene Jifa Abla Gomashi sire wada kache ne say yeso ye atwen no onkolo bibi no onfamra me village kwan wo Ketu South Fiadohu Kope honorable say eno ano no hu eno ano no o se kwan ne nya Fiadokope o se ba bia honorable obi a onkai omo na Joshua Segbaji o se ebi kache honorable se me se akpe Mr. Okujeto ono ni ode betum mu ano no eno waja ho na Adom Asenyo o se ebi MP se wo Ghana nyina no me favorite MP a me penasem na wo de na bai ba me se obi sa na ma me se land allocation bi a ekoso Togome akosi sen u information bi
Togome land allocation bank
also issues relating to farmlands allocation
that is under the Millennium Challenge project no
allocation bi ho
for companies under the agric ministry no any related to housing agric allocation for farming but no is being handled by the Ministry of Agric.
Okay.
But many say locals complain say they are being cheated out or more encroaching on farms and all of that. And my final question on that.
Okay. Until utie free ministry ho na ne ebebam bia no.
Exactly. Na yati ase
ode amani pano ewo ho no mo. Yeda say Ado Steven osi akwi a mechia manwumre na memehwe mu fi atempoku na sa free senior high school no wahu me banya admission ewo tonto senior high school na unim bibi aban enhyehyɛ ye odi aba prospectus ya omode ema ye no echi no wokɔ ho no mo a yesa won krata ne niema fofora ye de ema wo ya wo beto eno na ye interdicted headmistress fu obi no ntimi nia bema asem na ye kana no kwadwaje o se akua mechia mo na wo ye emotional wo ye judgmental brafom you wa hwe ya benya pressure ne de se o man nti eni na susek fo be ka cho se me minti enye minti me minti because eniema ni bi wo ho no mo ahwa na wo ye mahyew wo hwa na wo ye mahyew se ye free a enye free a eye ohun ne ye ka na eti ena Cynthia me o se akua mitie mu free Switzerland ye chiachia mo ye jo so enchanting mayan o se akua mesumi tie mu efri Asante Agona ena mitie mu efri piaga so message na ba ono ma Michael o se akua migidi se nyame ekam homo ye adwuma no na mehwe ofi industrial area kache honorable Abla Kwama me se nyame nhira na me mesrema ne se nyankopon onhira no ene adwuma oyema oman Ghana Amano Solomon o se akua honorable abo adwuma kache ne se nyame onhira no ye hia nipa bi te se ono na o ma ya amanyosem ewo mayimu nye se ye pa amanyofo keke Gamo Enoch o se honorable Okujeto akua kache ne ma me se nyame nhira no ne adwuma oye Mystical Saki o se akua me wotema eso me constituency ye menya krobo constituency ye wo asesiwa yeso ye twen ye nsabeka kwachi prepare Alex o se akua ka kire MPs na aka ni nyina se omo mehua we bi na omo nkoye wo omo constituencies na aka no ka kire honorable se akpekata ohun eno chese eno
as I say ye akpe kakaka
we do any kata na say wa bucha no ni kwa chi o te say me ye nyina ye nte ba o pese o ka bi eti eno no de abeto ho no
special thank you very much
na say obi ka say me dasi bebre eno an no de ato ho no Junior Cobblestone no say akua me chia manwume na me hwɛ mu fi dodowa opposite police station ho no mo a na Linda Obenewa Akwele Oklu ono so me MP Shai Osudoku constituency mesre wada fa ne bre studio ho no mo se ne wode honorable abai no on so meka ne de ne e de wom na ye ne e wo constituency wo hi ntie mate me de omo beba me de omo ebeba ye nyanyi mu nti ne e wo se ye de ne ba na e bi kura na bibi koso wo constituency wo na wo nche ye na se ye twumi ehu eti honorable na wo se de na mudi si dan na blocks na se de nya ne esuo be yiri ni bi eni
debi enti ye use bricks into usual wall na bricks na nka pese ni nyina ye use bricks but na delay more year bricks no particularly from the Adom side na omo capacity once ye pese ye ejuma no fast until they couldn't catch up with the pace into portions brick and portions so normal cement blocks no into very durable ukoko enya prefab and say be a plastic be there be
and yan idea 9 won
no there be brick and mortar and bricks it's very very durable. There's very permanent house and see and say chuck corners be and some be a prefabricated building there be
okay afi yamna 2024 budget no na yenhwe sika empenim forecast say ye de beboa eno kra da nya fra mantem ko areas ni nyina wo hwe say sika na minim say mo hwe budget estimates no mo hu say bia ye say sika no die poten ene ye de beye ama communities no ye won ye say ye de boa with farmers no eno no ye different from the ye allocate ye wo budget mu say ye de we no koboa mo hu ne ye say ye de ye ankasa
yo me da say enti osha budget na the finance minister announced say Omo allocated 220 million for the relief phase. And Oka said for the other phase, no, Omo applied to the World Bank and a global shield on climate change for international support. But Omo chain response, no. And me secure me copy of the budget. Me co appendices, no, because appendix no na ubehu bebia sikano ya allocate
ya chichemu
ha infa bebia sikano ko ankasa enti
pacho microphone no
enti offer budget na page 231 of the budget under Ministry of Works and Housing ubehu say it is that ministry and yeah, the 200 million or more under capex and 20 million under goods and services. I get the impression say 2024 no or more per se or more use 20 million no for maybe more relief items, not 200 million no or more the see a dime because that has been put under Ministry of Works and Housing. However, no. It is important to stress, say, Yenyana as I say, TSC allocation is different from actual release. And my comment they are buying, say, or more ignoring in the budget. That is a commendable first step. But I have also indicated, say, I am cautiously optimistic because Obekaya about 3 years ago, I buy a special allocation for Keta Sea Defense. Omon to me and release Sikano. And as we speak, 3 years on, Keta Sea Defense project. No, I buy a I have sounded a note of caution. Our Parliament say I am hoping say those instances of yabe allocated sika now so yen release time na ba. Na release ababe ye challenge. I'm hoping say that is not what will occur. That is the first point. Second point, me pese me de told you forcefully, and it's a disaster where is no, it's an emergency. Enti na anka and say ye train 2024. I mean, my comment they are buying, we welcome it. But budget piano this year, running. Finance minister has the power to spend because Parliament approve a budget for him all the way to December 31st. This year's budget, 2023 budget, no contingency vote. Parliament approve 533 million for him. Contingency, no, it is for emergencies. Contingency, that's so want to mean predict it, setting. It is for things like this. And my finally urgent question, he keeps dodging me. But the point is that contingency vote, no, it is for things like this. Into a banisena 533 million, approve a amount for emergency. So far, no. And Energy Minister Bebrifi, we raised it on the floor. Sika Abaya spending so far on this disaster. Ninyana every VRF4. VRF4 say Omo allocated 20 million for this disaster because Omo no cost I can understand. But central government, more 533 million contingency vote. And so say you're trying for because 2024 Finance Isabeka say, January, I feel na yebuwa sika, I feel na you're trying revenues, na you're February, na you're March. Now so yeah kasa say me no kasa say unim say schools no do that these 21 schools the children can attend those schools. Uba North to our children have been displaced twice from their homes and from their schools. Enti me na mobilize volunteer teachers omobo omo kakra. But that cannot continue. Omo nyina be kwa ko the same BC, the same wasi. Enti contingency vote no wo he. Me ni aba ube kaya 2 years ago, Mena Meche Finance Minister intercepted documents say contingency vote on Sena ODC National Cathedral, which is not unto Kasa National Cathedral project President Ankasa or no now plan a or appointed board of trustees or no fixed date say that way make kokati sort. That cannot qualify as contingency. And it was a wrong thing. It was a violation even of the Public Financial Management Act. Enti contingency vote no mo de ye niema enya contingency say emergency AC which really requires the contingency. We are not feeling the presence of the contingency vote. It's 533 million. That's a lot of money. Even just 20% of that crown bet to me a boy bet to me a siadan I bet alleviated the plight of these people in Colano bet to me anya schools back. Unim said my first Inquisito, it was collapsing. And can you the damn way na you see here? Unim said, continuing students are losing 7 weeks. Those in Form 2 and Form 3 are more Inquisito. Who is thinking about them? Ministry of Education, Omo posted 800 students, first year students to my first Inquisito. Omo wo for buy, Omo who said displaced persons into they've all returned. Dodona I go back to placement secretary say Omo pe new schools. And you can understand. I mean, imagine say Oba ya posting a school ukodruwa a displaced camp. Academic work and it's not going on. You would naturally want to look for a new school. Into the timely intervention of this new house, and yet to me, I prepare my first Inquisito into me year relocation and I may call back to St. Kizito. I was even with Nana, mo journalists of Waha, and other colleagues, journalists. Koye Fumigation. Me invite a company, be a Bridge Wave Fumigation Company Limited. Yesterday, I prepare St. Kizito so that the school does not collapse, because that was also a fear that is very legitimate that we were really working against. Say, my first Inquisito be collapsing.
School no be.
Into the point that maybe say, yeah, so many issues. School good. People's health is at stake. Children's education is at stake. People are sleeping in congested classrooms. Into humanitarian crisis, emergency. contingency vote no one 533 million.
Can you budget asem kura say ye kase
And can say ye 2024 sika wo ho a ya allocated this year 2023 say ye the train emergency because your budget or mind be even your personal life. Oh, your budget, at least you put something aside for emergency because you can't predict what will happen to the year ends. And every year, there is a contingency vote. We put some money aside for emergencies. And the question I maybe, sir, and I had some discussions with people at the finance ministry. Say, at least let's fill the president of the contingency vote. The last time Mete said interministerial committee or more hold press conference. Now Mejane said, a major announcement on how they are going to use the contingency vote. The Mete and they say almost say or more actual applications to World Bank and a global shade into a more chain response. Into you see the sense of urgency. Say private individuals they bet to me a way in 7 weeks. A whole government more manage your resources, more contingency vote 533 million. We don't have to even wait for 2024. Yes, we appreciate it. Yeah, acknowledge it. I have gone on record, even in Parliament. I've told media organizations, say, yeah, they are biased for 2024, but 2023, no, because we are talking about an emergency. Nipa wachiromo, nipa. They've lost everything, their jobs, their farms, everything. And this is the real emergency here. Now, one expert said 533 million, no? Because it's a shocking, say, yeah, to me, effort 339 million from other years' contingency vote. Say, yeah, Kosi National Cathedral, no cry, we now have the world's most expensive hall. Ankuye, yenim baby as Sassikano, 339 million. Say the real emergency na Abba. Almost 40,000 of your people, fellow compatriots who pay taxes, who look up to a government, who it is their right. You're not doing them a favor. And here we are. Meanwhile, Yankai say Article 36 of the Constitution. Many of our national leaders say, you refit this provision. Article 36 of the 1992 Constitution. I provide this the state shall take all necessary action to ensure that the national economy is managed in such a manner as to maximize the rate of economic development and to secure the maximum welfare, freedom, and happiness of every person in Ghana. Every person in Ghana. Every person in Ghana, and to provide adequate means of livelihood and suitable employment and public assistance to the needy. Into your economy, your budget, your finance minister. This is the overarching principle. Economy will manage contingency voter yediamao. Who they boy the needy. Are you providing adequate means of livelihood for the people, for the vulnerable? When there is an emergency, do you come through for the people? Article 36 is very, very clear. And I am wondering, sir, I mean, Anka Enya Ghana for Enya media organizations, Mubo Dero, and Moya Depa, Multimedia, Adom FM, you're always talking about this, other media houses, corporate Ghana. I mean, but yes, Ghana for a kind, a compassionate, we have fellow feeling, but your government, your taxes, there's a contingency vote. Ninyina wo he.
Eno na se Tobin edi bisa se ekua bisa honorable mama se anyumre opeso o kana sem ni si so se enti sa disaster isi ye no government in spending a penny on nipa no hwe nkoso ye free aban fotuo mu ana.
Yes, I know na make say sikani nyina aba according to the energy minister and finance minister so confirm me a VRA as an institution and omo release 20 million into buying relief items aba polytanks or motor all the what the interventions no more year so far in terms of buying relief items. Also recently, Interministerial Committee Omuko Savannah Echo year donations. Ninyina free VRE. Abayan kasao, enyame na meka. Omusi VRE sika. Nti the emi bisa ne say central government contingency vote no. Sa sika no wahe. 533 million ena yede ma omu ye approve ya.
Committee na nkasa na eka say ska bi o ma spend bi free VRE for sika omu de omu no.
Yes, omu nkasa ka. Omankasa where yenye news so call online is there. Omankasa VRE for so aka. Into central government ankasa edena omoye. Into we shouldn't be waiting because there is no guarantee say sir 220 million we ombe release January and now February. One year be come May June is all within the year, the 2024 fiscal year. Into this is an emergency September. October, November, you're December mo. Contingency vote no him for. These are the matters. It doesn't inspire confidence.
Okay.
You know, and as I said, are buying or more taking a second look at their whole response to this matter, and let us see that agency. Ubekaya, we were clamoring even earlier. Say, Omon declare a state of emergency. Many a number of ambassadors I lobbied them as well. And let me comment Turkish embassy omo beye donation, German embassy beye donation, Cuban embassy so omo suma doctors. But a lot of them ask, why are you people not declaring a state of emergency? Because in their countries, no, when you do that declaration, and then a trigger or response. And UN agencies also almost so aka say when you declare state of emergency and no to trigger or more emergency relief mechanisms. Enti Sikaya Benya look recently even at the climate change conference now former US Vice President and Nobel Peace Prize winner Al Gore Oka Ghana for some he made a compelling case for Ghana. Say as I said. We pay attention to what is happening in Ghana, the VRA floods and all of that. I have a copy of his presentation. Even other international leaders are drawing attention. Say, Asem Kesiye Esi wa Ghana. What is stopping us? Especially as Yenina Yenim say, Ahonchiraba, you under an IMF program. Your credit agencies not downgrading Ghana. OSHA, yeah, macroeconomic indicators, we are not doing too well. That is what we were expecting from government. But my main fan to just say, apart from a dime way, yes, you know, rolling out quite a number of interventions, and also Abua Yepa. Once during the period, tertiary institutions, ABA. Disaster no started, they were on vacation, but they reopened. And I noticed or more gaining admission, and now or more your continuing students. They affected, they are in the camps, or more wufo ni baby they have no job to do and all of that. You identify 50 of the most vulnerable, and I yet your school fees amount. Full fees amount. And our teachers, no, so District Director of Education, hardworking Madam Isabella Obehumi. And our class, me teachers, no, 168 on my journey every room, they are staying elsewhere because they are affected. And I make us say, okay, they say water levels no air recede into your bebom, into your tier 6-month rent for all the 168 teachers. They have now started returning.
Teachers, no?
Yes, teachers in North Tongue. Yes, all the 168 affected. Their tier 6 months rent. That's what I wish we could have done more, but at least. And so far, they seem to appreciate it. And in Colano, so once they lost their stationery, their uniforms, all of that. And almost no, Usher Nadmo statistics now. Out of the 12,633, 6,100 they've been affected. And Yatumiato, exercise books, textbooks, school bags, school shoes, mache, omunyana. These are some of the programs that are rolling out to at least alleviate the plight of the people. And I must commend Old Vandals, chair and uniforms omo ya there the knee near or work base knee I have to be careful me refiniding but your records nina and also very thoughtful gesture or mobilize tailors in his area with their machines on palm uniforms a man colano omo party ma omo Jackie appear so last week and also many people didn't know say Obaho earlier about 5 weeks ago and I identify young people who want skills training into or mobilize facilitators from some of the best institutions on training or more cosmetology, fashion design, baking, cake making, metal works and all of that. Manicure, pedicure, munyana or more graduated on her birthday. Into Ghana 4 have been very phenomenal and interventions when you know abwa but say no the issue of resettlement and a compensation is key because say fit dragon no ekoswa abambe compelling to take legal action to bring a class action. And as I've already put my lawyers on standby, and we are considering it. I hope it doesn't get there. But if this, like a Desica attitude, a Koswa, we'll have no choice. Because how long will people be living in classrooms? How long will... Because it's more than 10 weeks, so many about. Just imagine. Even married people are wondering, say, would their marriage even survive and all of that, and the more serious health, implications of this ordeal. And I hope, sir, you be a renewed sense of urgency. As I speak to you as a member of Parliament for the most affected area, now may change the interministerial committee on be frame me, on be inviting me, now ya tenase, I discuss it. I shared the year so far, the almost over to me a year boa. My chance are invitation number.
And now I bet you among class, Mr. Wo heavy.
Oh, my friend, regional minister, water regional minister, my friend, on a number of occasions said, may available. Or more year meeting or more frame, Yen and Anum cry from said they also want to know even just an update. The more year so far. And it's like among appreciating emergency, it's like they are taking their time, but this is a dire situation.
Yeah, bebo modena committee no so ya share almost so dia or
over to me from one
de ani ebeche ho na abusua bronya du won say bronya du a Adom TV so efe Adom TV 9 lessons and carols edu ho no mo Kumawu stars ube hu won Kumawu stars ebi be ye Yesu ebi be ye Mary ebi be ye chese movie on be yi amabwa hwe no ye the Bible no ena eyi amabwa hwe no fe na this year so ye kukuru ni sei kokuru adwomtofo so ba ye be kenkai Bible na muatie keke fosu woni a wodwom abawom nyansa wom ewo mayimu no keke fosu wo ba Perez music miaminu abema onso gina mu denden ena Kumawu stars na de abusua efiri ni odi kan besi ni etwato ni nyina ewom ticket ni this year ya anyere so 30 Ghana cedis pe so person turn online abefofo no obo star 714 star 003 star 3 hash unya boy ya network bia mamsa mobile newa star 714 star 003 star 3 hash network bia ticket no 30 Ghana cedis ubetumi atobi nyame ya Adom a eye memenda December bosumi ne da ye to so dunsia 5 p.m. pepe na chese ya hye no ase ye kukuru no National Theatre besere beji wani afena kwa wie ye duru ba bi a pressure no te so kakra na anu ne na ye medane se nananom hemfo ne omanfo ye wo mapese bronya no ye bedi bronya no ye awre ho de opa awto duru ba bi a no watu bi agu eti yesrew we fa 30 Ghana cedis besere the whole night beji wani special na se bibia de dana kwam na wo so apa abrofo de no abusua no monkeka mom Joy FM party in the park 2023 and so baso Abui Botanical Gardens wo de fa abusua ne sa oyire emma na makọ mokọ aduane kakra ensuo kakra drinks kakra na ukọ ho no efura no pa no ndu ekọ nyina no abusua kona kọgie akonwa na tenase na hwe bibi na tie bibi. Sometimes environment no wo change environment ne kakra abri botanical gardens de if it is any best question wo ho abra ni efie nkura ase ne de eba ho no bo wani se kukuku ne kanua ho stories kirewo yesi ne de odo ni wabusua no nko abusua Joy FM so de ye de ebre wo no na ya che sika fi sika o sika amanfo age cash se afin mahu se emma no obi abefre na oba na me ne madie na 2000 amanfo adia na saa diagoro na gisika no ne mpompon so no wo a wo hwin ye che wo car o ne de che wo brand new tier rubber enye second hand enye home use enye for sale bo ho edenam ni bi brand new car ene de ma wo etikoso a na to bi o dial star 281 hasha na se wo do ho ahyem wo de tenga na se de se age kai umpewe na de na upebio ena kasaprekon landing dry gin e ka gina eno ane kasaprekon landing dry gin kasaprekon force enko na enkonom nsa wo ba wo fra chi ba wo bi hu wa osi we wo korinsa ne atwa photo na kasaprekon landing dry gin de haban nubna ne akeka bomu ene de ayo ba pem for misrew enko ho woni 18 years a oso nka ho wo ba wo pub Christmas is obi ba na se kasaprekon landing dry gin bi ni hono a osu dwadie na wo die na eche se wo ton mi ni bi enti bo modern friend 026 23 51 251 ebejo so kama miguso so kai wo say wo 3 bedroom self container e wo kpon kataman so ye ton misrew ye ton 3 bedroom self contain o kind dan ha dan fiewra fo bedu sika nyina unya kakra na de toto ho na obi so asie awie na ye announcement say dan say ye anefo to da nipa ne ho akere no no woto ne nti ya na bo ne ya teso 3 bedroom self contain ye wo kpon kataman so number abetumi afre na nkomodie bia wo de ato aso no 0244 03 0885 and 054 07 87 507 ofre ya ani ajo so na ono abo wo hu asem we ye benya na nka ye mesi nkonwa nka bieu daache eti ne ye kan nyina no akoye animanimu ya solutions nkakra ye mfa nsoso ano ba say ye permanent solution say ye mpese north town say ye south town babia ye beti biemu a mu na muwo area ho de na mugidi se wo se ye nipa na wo se ye relocate nipa no ye VR for na wo se omo hwe na omo eto pampim bi se da bi nsuo no ye because omo de omo kra de omo kan se nsuo no omo stop no ba bi enye enti de na moso modie mu no se na okay se committee ne frewa de na ugidi se yenye for long term solution no
yo me da se edikan me pese as a country no you consider and you explore an engineering solution because they say you know experts in Yanaka say the next world war will be over water. In Sio, you're very precious. Who share Nile, the Kosovo war, people are already fighting over River Nile and all of that. And the way I say in Sio, share all of these, you know, millions of gallons of water. Yaspele, I say, Bibi, I say, in Crawford Dan, I say, in Crawford Foom, I say, in Crawford Shops. Says, you know, Anka Yatume, a channela. At the irrigation farming, for example, enye ana yedisi ponds enye. This president talked about one village, one dam. I mean, can't we find an engineering solution? Many engineer there. Now, so I believe, sir, you to make a task your engineers, say, you best pelesa. Can we find a way of rechanneling this water into more productive ventures? I'm sure, sir, there can be a way because, you know, it's all about science and technology. And if we put our hearts to it, I'm sure, sir, we can find a way. That's the first point. I mean,
science because VR engineers, no, asem no ba ye no more kasa manfo blame o mo matiwe na babia nipa ni bitie no. Omo no so omo hwe omo map mu omo hwe omo planning se ne planning area ho no ma ka ho se nipa tena ho eti yemlemu nipa no ana ete ho no no
Debbie, I know want to me and blame me obia. Question I maybe say VR4 and say the ben na VR4 or mobile around a free meeting we are stakeholders. I'm in my third term as a member of parliament. Maintain that say me constituents eti baby and say so mote. Maintain that. Enti VR4 no have they not been negligent? Say munim say baby and microphone not a dangerous. Adenti na mun country. At least mun first stakeholder meeting. And I moon issue statement. Moon ye juma. We say this country, no people take positions and they think say, I mean, they should just look on, no proactiveness. Asemsia. Then they tell us, how would people know say baby or mwakwaku si dino? Omu si dino na assembly for one. Omo permits. Omo name say VR4 and expect say omo be si dino wa na. Inti right from the chain, VR4 to all the district engineers, district planners, and all this. Inti impenyifoni na yakodaya na. And then we want to blame victims. I know they are men peneda. I will not allow anybody to blame my poor constituents. Omunye bonebia. They did nothing to invite this upon themselves. They did absolutely nothing. And in your way, disaster cosino. Uba mafe ukosiko memoji dofwa didome, all these affected areas. Some of the houses affected were quite so far away, even from the river. In Siono, look, I take a whole township. Unless you say probably the whole constitution should not exist. You know. These are people trying to just pass the buck. And not the men peneda. Because I am not aware of any notice, any restriction. Ebia, Yababe Chirose, don't build your house here. And now there was an effort to stop anybody from building. Mente Krada. I was hearing this for the first time. They should show us evidence, no, what really is the proof, say, people are not supposed to build here. Then what did they do as the leaders? Because elsewhere, no, they will even cordon off the place physically. Barriers, metal works be an to prevent people from coming into those parameters. They will put notices. Say, no-go area, don't venture, you can't trespass, you can't build. There will be notices. And that's what we see. Areas that people cannot trespass, people cannot go and build. The leaders do what they must do. They are proactive. And there are sanctions for those who defy those orders. They were not supposed to be there. So when did you know that? And how come you didn't tell the people and take steps? Then the other point, as I said, may make it forcefully. And they say, this is not the first time a VRA spele. Omo first one in 1968. Last one omo was 2010. Ebanesena spele ni nyina omo aye no. Omo to omo bo eye na kama. We didn't see this level of distraction. And then they see at this time. Spele no omo ye no, because I have listened to the experts, the analysts. People are saying, say, they waited to the last minute. Omo who says they say no sustainable, dam no be break, you know. And then they just unleashed at full blast. And I caused a distraction. And Komu started many weeks earlier. Gradually, it says no 2010. Say na debia since 1968. We never saw this level of distraction. Because the AC, no, the last time Northton witnessed anything like this, according to Impenyefo, in my constituency, 1963, 60 years ago, Tamana Omusi Dam. No. But after that period, we've never, all the spillage, VR4 Omwaya, anything closer to this, or even remotely related to the level of destruction, the level of devastation at AC this time. Inti VRA has questions once. Inti na emi de pass the Speaker of Parliament will really say we will have a full-scale parliamentary inquiry. And I'll say that inquiry, no, and your members of parliament kwana ombe survey on the committee, or be free technical expertise to join MPs, and it's going to be the first time that will happen. And so we'll have technical experts joining MPs to have that, because we need to know. I mean, because a very important question in Webisa, because on Mindbia, when these things happen, you hear them say, oh, never again, and they take steps. They'll have a commission of inquiry. It's apart from, it's not commission of inquiry, no. Me, I'm not even interested in the area of ABA witch hunting and when I want the Juma year and what should happen to that person. I'm more interested in institutional reforms, no, the lessons we can learn, and then the steps that we can take as a country to make sure, say, a same way in SIDA. And that inquiry is key. And I'm glad, sir, early in the year, next year, no, it will be one of the matters that Parliament will be working on. But clearly, no, Miniaba, the AC, no, I have no doubt, sir, this was avoidable, just as it was avoided in 2010, avoided 13 years earlier when they spilled, and all the way from up to the first spillage of 1968. Gradually, just be down. I mean, your video, no, they thought it was like some tourist attraction.
But who say, no more can be said. Baby and Comu be in Siona, in Sioni betumi afa no. The bia sani omo ye no. We in Siona sani asabe na to. Ewo northern part ho no mo sa yeji area ho no ma. Sioni nya baby mfa. So they give many reasons and that way no e ka ho. Etimi nim baby a wunya information ne say omo emie nkakra nkakra om bie ni bum. Enu nti na ma we ba ye no. And no experts no na kan we
oh yeah, and there were insiders you know more kasa and yet ho
no mo say 20 benti na ni omo amie
unim say 20 one say there what I suspect, and you know the probe will bring all of these things out. Say there were some people who were playing a wait and see. One said 2010 spillage na yeah. There are some who believe say enona ededum so by it led to doom. So I don't know how grounded, how scientific. There were some people, I think, sir, probably some politicians got into the way. Engineers, so the scientists were not allowed to do their work.
Yeah.
Politics, no, because one person has been accused of bringing Dumso into, even though Dumso has been with us for many years, but into you know the politics and Enona Acosti and say, I am glad said the probe no at the Niama P Baba Bonting. And we will get to, because and yet the first time VRAS, okay, the first time that we can say so, but 2010 I was in the constituency, I was around, we were all here. This level of distraction 13 years earlier, this level of distraction 1968 we didn't see this. And then what has changed? And then you see 2023, and we saw, and don't forget the images. Many people thought a horror movie be a sorry dan cry submerged. I mean, baby, I to me and Nancy driver, we had to use canoes. They became like rivers. I mean, the massive levels of devastation. It's incredible. And then you see this year this spillage is you know. I mean, we saw this level. Baby uncle ye. And we have to get to the bottom of these matters.
Zion Giverson or say Aquia and now Dina Samuel Gibson or say Aquia and come say JDM say on picket honorable now on fano and running mate.
Me patch. Me available.
When you're available, say
no, Debbie.
Adia man for
Debbie, me supporting me, mammy. Professor Nana.
Aha, Prof. Ntina anya available. Na Prof. Wakacho also be could be there.
Oh, as so.
It was a Prof.
I'm sure so. Yeah.
I don't know. Very committed. BC a Koisin region also so very committed.
Oh, but media, no matter what, minya available.
running mate unya available.
Debbie.
Yeah, the man cry won't
Debbie.
And then Ubro Swana.
Oh, no, Debbie. No, that's not it.
And I wouldn't know. We are cry, Unini.
May ye me Juma as a baby of disaster, as I say, resolve it. That's all I'm focused on.
That's a banana. Hey, what idea a man for from his speedy campaign propaganda a man for ya won't ye?
Among Cosway, Menka. Intina won't team me, they won't me. I'm not part of it.
And I hope a president and Casadache.
Debbie, me join who cry. I don't. Politics, I don't believe. Yeah, you see, I believe, sir, at the end of the day, no. Generation be able choosing the leaders, and the people will decide. I think they're very arrogant. Say, why elect you? Who say, "When we are the best, when you should be president, you should be the leader." I don't believe in that. My philosophy is different.
No say nipa bi hu ne say mampani dada John Dramani Mahama de no free ho no mo a how na idu sumo wo ho mo so mo de no wo ho enti na say generation wo twan generation wo hu
there be anyesa na maka anyesa don't take me out of context maka say in Crawford no and I go so time will decide but I'm totally out of these matters and yeah they are major hokra
you Zion Mateo se fa me MP me MP wo agotime zoape o se ne MP ene wo ho no mo se Charles Agbevi
yes Charles Agbeve
wo hu you o se Mr. Fanebra studio ho num bi ma me wate na yeso yetie mu wo constituency apa na omra na o mekire ye ensem kakra emu Samuel Abobi so message no aba Samuel Labisian o se ebiwai enwumre no kwasem me kase ono abo mani nye ne effort no ho a na meboa ka chense nyame enhia no nemum blame no a washa ase wo preko no mesre no ka chense VR for momle mu obia ensachra yaba since 2010 no ye ka climate change ebi aba eti wo sai wo kasa wo de nne ekoto to 2010 ye biye bibia nsi wo de betoto ho na enye ye nti ho de ye ka chen ma me se ewiem sachra ye no enne bre wo se nsuo to na ewie ebo ba bia wo se ewie abo na nsuo to eti sachra ye bebre aba wo ba bia obi so den
oh yate interesting analysis enti na probe no ebeboa ebeboa na yate me ahu fact na nyina
yo Francis K opare also message na ba na ma mi lines nti no ekule o se ekua maya de senne modern noble man yi aba me nkokọ na metie mu free ka chense nyame hia no na ni okan akongoliba o se ekua bisa onu abo ma me se permit omo wo permit ni bisa ansa wo akọ ne nkrofo no ho abisa omo dodo sen na wo permit wo de emfancy ane enko wate onu abo ye nko ye di akire a ye behwe asufra because wo se wo gibre so ba na ye hwe foreign affairs committee no so because me gidi say weekend you demonstration na Ghana phobia omo wo Italy Ghanaians wo ho no mo ni foreign affairs so was see
issues for Hopper my receiving videos be so from Syria me name how Ghana for could drew her and I mean the way dehumanizing treatment I had more faso you know but Ochina minister no by be raising yama we at the budget review
into that the right time no ye be ba betwa ye nkomo so ye dase papa
yo me dase na menshra Ghana for na north town for Adom wase and the TF also should not be hard on my colleague MPs or more boyjuma be a there according to their strength and
according to their strength
yeah I'm not comfortable when Juma may not about the yet say you know I'm being compared with others so say there were different styles of leadership different constituency needs and all of that until my part just said they should take it easy on my colleagues
say constituencies bear for a boom or one area na sa asem si ho na obi se mahuni e kwaso wo minue ha se mo nkasa da bi ende comparison no do o de mo nyo mo comparison na de ti keke enka bi ye da se bye bye eusia no tom rashe bejani na enwumrei ye ne no atwetwen enkomo no eti wo nofton a ba bia wo bia no mo a still na moda so camps ni bi because 12 camps and how many camps 21 camps awo bia na bedu so he say nipa almost 300 ena ye de wo kro no tinkakra eno so omutimi ye na government de eno so beka ho a ni nyina ye beto aso me gidi se ye ji ho de eno so no yeji area ho eno Dr. Adom constituency enso ye behwe ne ekoso ho ye behwe ne ekoso ho bre ya esemu medam ase abusuafo meda Game Park Limited for ase sada so ena Kasaprekon London Dry Gin DBS roofing sheet ye da wase Franco Trading Enterprise aseda ene de ema wo nyina twedi ampondom ye ne a ukuada ebehia ewo bani ni shuzumedie so for penny pegata maklu ne bre aso yedi nyame asem na ebrew wonim sei asofo ewo multimedia adwumakom ha nyina no ayiem sofo SK na eda fom no enti adwuma mu nyina ye wa ayiem ba asofo no so de utim se enye easy mu bia eti medamase listo wo kwadwofojo aseda nkoma kwamkule nu Aisha Akua Ibrahim na Frank Milovan Jamrachum Akowa Robert wafa abrofudin be nan Robert Edward Tete o friend Africana obejo so na de metum live e wo Facebook na YouTube mesumidin e de Akua Boachiwe Adom abusia madam ase mamunity a yanyim phone na me fancy ya breaking yo